The last bus of the hill station. The old bus creaked to a stop at the empty, fog-shrouded station. Sanvi glanced nervously at her watch. 9:45 p.m. The last bus was due at 10, and she could feel the chill creeping through her coat. She had visited the hill station to unwind, but now, standing alone at the desolate terminal, she felt more on edge than ever. The air was thick, almost suffocating, and the streetlights flickered, casting long shadows that seemed to move on their own. A soft hum echoed in the distance, and soon enough, the headlights of an approaching bus pierced through the fog. The old vehicle groaned as it pulled up, and the door wheezed open. Sanvi hesitated. The driver, a gaunt man with hollow eyes, didn't say a word, only gave her a slow nod. With no other choice, she stepped inside. The interior of the bus smelled of damp and decay. The seats were worn, the fabric frayed, and as she walked down the aisle, she realized she was the only passenger. The bus rumbled to life, and they began the winding descent down the misty hills. Sanvi tried to distract herself, watching the fog swirl outside the window, but an eerie silence filled the bus. The occasional creak of the vehicle only heightened her anxiety. Suddenly the bus jerked to a stop. Sanvi looked up. There was no station, no stop, just an endless stretch of road disappearing into the fog. The driver didn't explain, didn't even glance back. Instead, the doors hissed open as if expecting someone. A figure emerged from the mist, slowly stepping onto the bus. It was an old woman, hunched and trembling, her face hidden beneath a tattered shawl. She moved down the aisle with slow, deliberate steps, and Sanvi noticed something strange. The woman's feet didn't touch the ground. Her footsteps made no sound. The old woman sat a few rows behind Sanvi, her breath ragged and wet. Sanvi's heart raced. She tried to calm herself, telling herself it was just her imagination. But then she felt it. The unmistakable sensation of cold fingers brushing the back of her neck. She whipped around. The old woman was still sitting, her back to Sanvi, unmoving. But something else caught her eye. The fog outside the window wasn't just swirling aimlessly anymore. It was forming shapes, figures, faces pressed against the glass, eyes hollow and mouths open in silent screams. Sanvi's breath quickened as she stood, stumbling toward the front of the bus. She needed to get off, now. But the driver didn't seem to notice her panic. His eyes were fixed ahead, his expression vacant. "Excuse me, I need to get off," she said, her voice trembling. The driver didn't respond. The bus didn't slow. Instead, the mist seemed to thicken, enveloping the bus completely, making it impossible to see anything outside. Suddenly, the old woman's voice cut through the silence, soft and raspy. "They never let us off, you know." Sanvi turned to see the woman staring directly at her now, her face pale and sunken, her eyes void of life. "We're all passengers on the last bus, forever." Panic gripped Sanvi as she rushed toward the door, pounding on it, begging for the bus to stop. But it only sped up, hurtling through the fog, the faces in the mist now pressing closer against the windows, their mouths moving as if whispering something she couldn't hear. The driver finally spoke, his voice low and guttural. "No one gets off the last bus." And just as Sanvi's vision blurred with terror, the lights flickered and went out, leaving her in complete darkness. The only thing she could hear was the sound of the bus's wheels turning endlessly, and the soft, haunting whispers of the dead. The last bus of the hill station had claimed another passenger.